It's good to see.
That's nice.
And Carsten, just are you able to join the stage or?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, certainly.
You see, you look a bit funny today. You're kind of blue.
So you can hear me still, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we see you.
Yeah. Yeah, my biscuit is not there anymore.
No.
Yeah, it's a Krümelmonster.
Cookie monster.
That's the same word in Danish as in German.
Genau.
Was ist es in Deutsch? Entschuldigung.
Krümelmonster.
Krümelmonster, genau.
Grumps monster.
Mhm.
No, Christian. Should we just give it one more minute for
The latecomers.
Yeah.
Yes. 1 minute. Anything to share in that minute that is out
I don't
of
know.
the agenda?
I don't think so.
Oh, the camera from the mess behind.
Is it still light where you are, Jonas, or that is street light in the window behind?
It's still light.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice. But yeah, okay, maybe we should get started. So
Yes.
yeah, welcome everyone. Good to see you here for yet another town hall session. So today we do it a bit differently. So we simply have invited all the presenters on stage from the beginning. Yeah, so maybe you could just briefly introduce yourself and speak a bit about what you're gonna talk about, each of you. If you could start, Christian.
Yeah, I would be happy to. So, Christian Vestergaard, I'm one of the co-founders, and I've been around obviously for a long time in this project. I get the chance to introduce our pricing policy a little bit later and talk a little bit about that. So that'll be my role tonight. And I'm also here to try to answer any questions that you may have out there in the audience. You can write them in the chat, or you can ask to be joined on stage, and we'll be happy to join you. And then just as a note, be aware that we are recording this session as always, so it will be available later on YouTube. Yeah, so that's me. And then over to Leander, you're next in line on my screen.
Great. Thank you very much. Leander Bindewald. I'm the latest member of the community, so to say. I joined in July, so this is my second town hall. Those who were here last time might have heard me say a few words, but tonight I'm invited to speak a bit more about the blog posts we posted and what the point of all those blog posts is and how they gel with our community engagement and the steps forward. I'm very happy to be back here on stage, and I'm handing to Carsten. Bitquits.
Yeah, I will talk a little about the technical status and also the approach against public node. We are moving against that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and thank you, Olga. And my name is Jonas, and I'll be speaking a bit about the governance roadmap for the next 4 to 5 months. Yeah, and as Christian mentioned before, if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to type them into the chat. You can also simply join us on stage if you want to. We don't bite. You're more than welcome to participate. We really welcome that. With that being said, let us just get started with the roadmap. I'm just gonna share my screen here, and then Carsten, maybe if you can talk a bit about the technical deliveries. So let me just a second here. It does. Do you see my? Is it the right screen?
Says Tagion
Yeah,
Townhall.
you're sharing the Tagion Townhall, Jim.
Yeah, that's not the one we want. That's the one.
Okay.
One we want.
The roadmap. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Soon we will have an Explore. So we actually have the Explore is actually in a beta right now. So we have it on the test, but we will also make it public. It means that it's a little easier to read from the public database. And then we have actually worked a lot on the SDK for it. So we have a C interface for this, an API for C wrapper, so it's possible to wrap it into other languages. We have now a Flutter Dart interface, and that's actually quite far. We have already a beta of it. So, and then we are moving against the public node. So we hopefully will have a simple node for test if people are interested in that. And then we have worked a lot on the consensus algorithm, because we had the problem when some of the nodes was far or it was very slow in compared to other nodes, then they could not reach consensus. But this is what we have right now solved, and we need to do synchronization between the databases, and we have also done a lot on that, and this is important when we run the public nodes. So yeah, so I don't know, but can I share the screen here? Is that possible?
Yes, that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, when Carsten's screen is shared, you can click on it to get it in large size, the same with the roadmap before. Just click on, and you can actually also click on us, and then we will appear in large.
Yeah, but can I also share my screen? So
yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah.
Which one?
It should say share your button.
Share button.
Yeah.
Aha! Wow, smart. Yeah, it's new technology. I just to we have this. We actually have this page here, as I showed last time, and we have been documenting.
We're seeing you right now, Carsten.
You're seeing me? Haha, smart. And how do I actually?
I am. So you need to share one of the other applications.
Okay. So I need to share my screen. That's very smart. Share. Aha. Yeah. Okay. I can. Whatever. Is it still? Can you see my screen now?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay. Super. So, yeah. So just one.
Now it disappeared, Carsten.
It disappeared. It disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is high tech.
Yeah. That's it. Because. This one is this working?
Yeah, that's the terminal.
Yeah.
Okay. Super, thank you.
Yeah.
Very much. So actually, you can actually just if you download the code, you can actually just make install, and then you should be able to run the tools. So if, for instance, we have a what we call a Dart utility. So if you can just say Dart util, and there's actually on the page you can read about this tool. So we can actually I've just made a simple database here, and you can say this means that you actually get the bullseye of the database here, and then we can also rim. This means because it's like a wheel, so you can actually read out some of the data. So what this does, it actually, if we just display them as like this, you can see what's in here. So on this rim, we have a branch and 2 archives. So we can take those 2 archives, and then we can actually read them out. Yeah, it's already here. Yeah, it's like a cooking kitchen here. So you can say Hypon. You can convert it into a Hypon here, and then print it out as a JSON. So you can see those guys here. This is actually what is stored. It's a simple archive. It's just a text. So $A is the archive. So the Dart command would then, with those 2 keys, read out this recorder, and then we can actually also just filter them out with different like. There's a lot of combination. I don't know if I can show the documentation, but because I don't know, does it actually show share the whole screen or what? I don't know. Can you see this?
Yeah, it appears so.
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
So
You see the $sign?
you can see the web page I'm showing, right?
No, we can't see his webpage right now. We
Very-
can only see the terminal.
Okay, that's super. Okay, but anyway, you can read about it in this Tagion org thing. Yeah.
The link has just been shared in the comments to the Hypon Util documentation on docs.tagion.org. I guess that's where you can read about it, right?
Okay. Anyway, doesn't the screen? Okay, you can share the screen. That's smarter. Okay. Yeah. Because yeah, this is actually a documentation we have done on that. So there's some examples on how to use it, which I just showed. You can, for instance, just print out the whole database as keys. So all this is Dart indices.
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Can you see my screen? Right? You can see my screen?
Yes. Yeah, we see it.
Yeah, okay.
We see it.
So this would then list all the indices, and then you can go, for instance, an angle. So you can take an angle of the database and print it out, or you can you can like do this from an angle and dump it into Hypon Util and then get it out as JSON. Yeah, so there's if people are interested, they can actually just play around with this. So we have done a great deal on HiPC command line tool, and this HiRep is a grab tool for Hypon. And then we have documented some of those tools here in a more formal way. So yeah, that's actually what I want to show. If there's any questions, how do you?
Great. Thank you, Carsten. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can simply post them in the chat, and then we can always answer them later on. And if tomorrow you think of some great question, you can simply post them in the general chat, and then we will make sure to answer them. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for that, Carsten. Yeah, I'll just share my screen again, and then we could go through the here the roadmap for the governance. Yeah. All right. Okay. So just to be sure, you see my screen now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see us on this roadmap under governance, we have included, or let me just actually start another place. So for example, if you take the timeline at the top and see there is both arrows pointing up in the air and arrows pointing downwards, and those pointing downwards, they mark the deliveries on the governance for the next coming month. So as you can see, we plan on publishing a Tagion manifesto. We plan on publishing Tagion's open notebook on governance. We plan on publishing a governance working paper, and then we plan on making some kind of community event on governance. So I'm just briefly going to touch upon each of these in a second. But yeah, so this is the overall roadmap. And then if we move down, then you can see there are, each of these are being mentioned further down. So for example, if we start with the Tagion manifesto, we started working on that 2-3 weeks ago, and we plan on delivering it next week or the week after. But essentially what the Tagion manifesto is a document where we have written down our vision for the Tagion network, essentially what we envision it to be. And we also have included some guiding principles for the network, which should steer and navigate the further governance building, the further governance of the network, you could say. And finally, it would also include some more elaborate description on the card and its relation to Tagion, probably. So that's what the Tagion manifesto is going to be. It's simply to get you up to speed with our thoughts in regards to what we want. We see Tagion to turn into in the coming years. Yeah, so that's the Tagion manifesto. Then we have the TONG, which is, as mentioned before, it's the Tagion Open Notebook on Governance. So that's where we write down all our thoughts on the governance of the network. It's as it says, it's a notebook, so there's not any final. It's not a final version. It's not a final explanation of what the governance is going to look like. It's more a way for us to actually involve you, the community, in our thoughts on governance, and then invite you to provide feedback, critical thoughts, ideas as to how it can be optimized, how we can actually create a governance model that is able to accommodate the vision and the guiding principles set forth in the Tagion manifesto. So that's the main idea with the so-called TONG. Then there is the governance working paper, which we expect to have ready at Mode 2, which is in the second week of December, I think it is. But yeah, so the governance working paper is more of an elaborate description of and more how could you say it, more conclusive, and not conclusive, but more. It's still a governance paper, but here we actually have distilled all the good thoughts into one paper. Said this is what we believe governance should look like. It's still open for revision. We can still go back. In the future, we'd still be able to revise it based on the feedback from you and based on testing we'll do. But yeah, we will issue this governance working paper. And then finally, after we have initiated Mode 2 and we also have published this governance working paper, we will do some kind of community event on governance. So yeah, in the next 4 to 5 months on the governance side, we are gonna involve the community much more, to the extent that, of course, possible. But the idea is to get you up to speed on our thoughts and also hear your thoughts. So that's the plan. And as part of that, we also have, or you could say related to that, we also have been writing these posts on money, simply to get you up to speed on our thoughts on money, how we see it, and yeah, essentially engage you a lot more, you the community, and that's also what you are gonna talk about, Lander. But yeah, I don't know if Lander, also, do you have any things to add to this roadmap before talking about your blog posts?
Thanks, Jonas, for asking. And yes, leave the slide on for a second. When I hear you speak, I am reminded that I only joined this a few months ago, and for me, this is all new. So I don't know how the audience perceives that, but just to maybe give a newcomer's insight into what you just said, maybe the one concrete point to pick up on where you said we've just started working on the manifesto. I need to remind myself, and there has been a lot of work and thoughts being put towards governance throughout the years. We haven't started from scratch, and if you look at the websites, there is, of course, a lot of things being already said, and it sounds like there's a lot of commitment already done towards a certain kind of governance. What we are now actually starting doing is opening the process and concretizing and actually distilling it into something that then can be tested as soon as the technical side is ready and the network moves into the next stages of distribution and finally moves towards centralization. Then, of course, all these words that you read on the website about commons governance and everything need to be so concrete that they can be tested and validated and then finally implemented for everybody to use. And that, to us, is a multi-stage process where we need to first say where we are, then bring in some ideas, collect feedback, and further develop the things to be tested. And that's why also that Mode 2 moment is so important, currently scheduled for early December, because from that moment on, the network moves towards a distributed potential, so to say, and from then on we can actually test governance ideas in a distributed and finally decentralized network, which at the moment would be purely theoretical. So for that moment, we're kind of preparing ourselves and yourself in the documentation of the thoughts and distilling them into these different staged documents. Would that make sense? And in that same line of bringing ourselves into the same boat, into the same kind of thinking, into the same kind of wording, and then also telling you about our thinking and wording, we're also publishing these posts about money, because of course currency, money, financial infrastructure, that has always been the heart and essence of the Tagion project, but these words mean so many different things to so many people. So if we want to engage in a conversation with you, you need to know what we mean when we say these words. So that also inspired the first title of the first blog post, what we talk about when we talk about money, really just to give you our perspective, the breadth of the thinking that we have on those things, so that when we get towards a co-development of these ideas, to further determine what the mainnet can do and is doing, but also to keep the thinking open for what a sub-Dart can do. So these related federated communities where you can set your own rules and do basically what you want, but at the beginning we already have to consider everything that you might want to do there. So for those things we need a common terminology, we need to have the scope at least shared, and then within that scope we can do whatever is needed. So that's why we started talking about money. But if you saw the second blog post, that of course ended off with the realization or the message that when we think about money and creating new kinds of money and implementing new currencies, governance will always be an integral part of this. So this is kind of merging those two conversations in a natural way, that if you want to create a new money system, you have to think about a new governance system, and not just front loaded, say, with a white paper and a protocol, as in Bitcoin. I said, well, it's all open, but it's actually all set in stone already. We want to go a different way of actually keeping it open and involving everybody from the beginning who has an interest in those things. And so at the moment, we're going to share our ideas in these series of blog posts, which will continue and will in the end be kind of a comprehensive suite on our thinking on money, currency, finance, but also governance, because they're always the same. They're always two sides of the same token of redesigning economic systems that actually work for everybody. And Jonas mentioned that for this year, it will definitely be at least a first stage of also having a face-to-face and more personal engagement on these things in an event where we'll see what scale that has. But instead of always just meeting ourselves and talking with each other and hoping to get feedback from you, we're actually going to invite a number of you around the table and explain our thoughts if they're not really understood yet from our writing, and really get your feedback and ideas about them, because we're sure there's a lot of good experiences and insights and further ideas on how we could best implement that for the decentralization process that then is going to take place next year. So much my 2 cents on that. Economic pun intended.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and thank you so much for that, Leander. And you also just posted the links in the chat, Christian. I would really encourage you all to go read them. And also invite you to ask questions on these topics. If you have any questions about money or how we see it, all money related stuff, all finance related stuff. If you have questions, if you want to discuss it, we are always here. But definitely go read them. They're definitely worth the time. It's not many minutes. So yeah. All right. Okay, so I will hand it over to today's last presenter, Christian. So yeah. You can talk about price policy.
Yeah, I'd like to just touch briefly upon that. We had here during the week, we have on Discord, we have published our pricing policy for the TGN tokens. So as you're all aware, I would assume you're aware, is we have the TGN token, so the Tagion network token, that is being sold at the moment, and where we take the proceeds from those sales and use that to develop the Tagion system. And this is what will bring us forward to together with some other projects, but this is one of the primary vehicles that will bring us forward to having an actually distributed and fully decentralized monetary system, which is the end goal for where we are going. We'll never stop, but we absolutely want this to be realized as a completely decentralized system. Hence all the focus on governance also. So what I'll do is I'll just share my screen here. I'll share the document that was, here we go, that was posted on LinkedIn, and then I'll take you through it. Can you see my screen? Yes, very good. Okay, so I'm also hoping that you can see what I'll be highlighting here. So first we have a disclaimer. One thing that is important to know is that what we have now, that's a sales price for the TGN token. We don't have an actual market price yet because we are not on a market, so the TGN token cannot be sold. So the value of the TGN token is something that we and the team determine, and that is determined based on a set of different developments that we think are substantial enough to trigger an actual increase in the price. There's an introduction to it here. And what may be important to just notice is that it is the card that is the legal entity that is actually driving the Tagion project all the way up until it is self-sufficient and truly decentralized. But there needs to be a legal company behind a project like this to succeed. That's at least how we believe we can do this in the best possible way. And that is the card. And this is the card that's also paying our salaries while we are working on making Tagion flourish. So what we have done is that we have said that it is the network. So it's our core infrastructure. And especially now that we have the mainnet, it's the mainnet system. That is what is the most important, one of the most important components in order to have Tagion running. So whenever we are substantially enhancing the code base, the stability of the system, of our production environment, that may trigger a price adjustment. And also the second one here, the increase in the network's level of decentralization. That's a bit harder to actually flesh out to say exactly what triggers this. But let me try to explain just a little bit about it. So the idea of having the network decentralized, that is the end goal, because this is a network we're building for the people that's going to be governed by the people, and it's going to be commonly available for everyone. And there's a lot of steps towards decentralization. I would argue there's not another DLT system out there, any blockchain system or anything else that is truly decentralized at the moment. There's always some way where the power, the control of the network ends up sitting in the hands of the few, or those that have enough money to pay, as an example, 32 Ether to be running a node on the Ethereum network. So there's a concentration of power with the current governance mechanisms out there. That's why we talk so much about governance. And whenever we have something substantial, steps towards being truly decentralized, then we will argue that can trigger a price adjustment. And then you can say the end goal is that when it's truly decentralized and it's also on a marketplace, well, then there is no need for us to follow the pricing policy anymore. We are very much, we are going to focus a lot more in the coming months on growing the Tagion community. And that is, of course, it's system engineers, developers that are needed, but it's also strategic partners. So this is businesses building solutions on the Tagion system that the card is engaging with and bringing on board. And this is ongoing work, and we have some quite promising strategic partners that we hope we can name soon. But it's certainly also when we have new core members. You have not yet triggered a price increase on your own, but that may come in the future. You're still young in the company. But you are actually an example of a new significant core member. But it's also ambassadors, supporters, or when we get to the utility part of the network, so the actual usage, that we start seeing a lot of usage of the network, and we see a lot of users starting to use the Tagion system for payments or for transferring other sorts of values. It doesn't necessarily have to be the TGN token on its own. The Tagion network also supports different types of NFTs and other types of digital assets that could be transacted between two parties. So this is an introduction to what it is that we believe should trigger a price increase, but it's up to us to decide when we do it and also how much. And every time we do it, we try to be as transparent as possible for the pricing adjustments. And you are always welcome to contact us and ask for more details if there's anything you would want to have further details about in terms of any pricing decisions that we're making here. This is, of course, the price increases. They are a way for us to make sure that we put a value onto the Tagion network, and as it matures and grows, we increase the price all the way until we are on a marketplace. This is, unless maybe Jonas, then Carsten, anyone from the audience, unless there are questions, then this is my 5 cents on our Tagion Sales Price Policy, TGN.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Christian. I don't think I have any comments or questions right now for that. Yeah, so actually that's more or less it for now. I don't know if some of you guys have anything to add before we close the shop for today. I assume not. No. Okay, but also just to all of you guys listening in, thank you so much for joining. And for next time, if you have any topics you would like us to touch upon, talk about, then yeah, simply write them in the general chat or here in the community stage chat. I see there's one question. Maybe you are the most suited to talk about this, Christian. Hilgo asking how many works on Tagion.
So it is a good question, and it's sort of. But at the moment where we are is that we have 15 full-time employees, so that are employed in Descartes, that are working on Tagion, and then in addition to this, we have community members that are helping. At the moment, we have work ongoing where we're getting help on the web page. We're getting help with some of the text surrounding not governance, but other areas that are being worked on there constantly a lot. And then we also have some, you can say, freelancers that are working, but that's more on the business side, on bringing in commercial agreements for utility on the Tagion system. There's quite a lot ongoing there. So at the moment, you can say the core team, the employees, that's 15 full-time employees on Tagion. I think that should answer. Then and then of course we are looking to expand the community quite a lot more. Yeah, you can say this is quite different from many other projects where most of the work that is being done is voluntarily, completely voluntarily. Until a certain stage. So we have chosen a different approach, but we have done that with pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that answer. I don't know if it answered your question, Hilgo. Otherwise, let us know. And I'm sure Christian would be happy to give it another shot. But yeah, okay, thumbs up. That's a good sign. All right. So unless any other questions, I think that's it for now. Again, for next time, if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the general chat or contact us or however you like. But yeah. So that's it for today.
Yeah.
Hope to see you all next time. And thank you, Leonard, Christian, and Carsten for joining me on stage.
Yeah, cheers.
Pleasure.
Thanks to you too. And
Have a nice
have a
evening.
good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
Cheers.
bye.